There we go. Three, three, two, one, go.
Hello, Ignacy Chivchek, Portal Games.
And this is Stephen Bonacor, the Podfather of Gaming. This is Board Games Insider, episode 171, and we are recording on November 14th, 2020. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and while all of our listeners are proud of us, Ignacy and I are proud of ourselves. Heck, the entire board game industry is probably proud of us. Tom Vassell is not so much proud. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yes. We are doing Key Story. This is international podcast from two continents, Europe and American, two celebrities of the industry. This is making Key Story.
I
Will
like
be
that.
mentioned in annuals in the future that these two influencers were doing this podcast
I
for
think
years.
it's gonna be it's huge. It's gonna go on forever, and we're gonna go down in history, Ignacy, right?
That's
All right,
that's what we are doing here.
Our egos are too big to fit into this podcast, I think, at this point. Anyway, so you blew me off the other day for some like small thing like Independence Day in Poland. Well,
That was
congratulations.
very unfortunate. I'm very, very sorry. It
That's
was
okay.
such a lazy day. Nothing was happening, and I completely forget that it's actually Wednesday and we should record. So then I got your text, and I said, "Oh my God, I forgot about Steven. I feel so bad."
That's okay. It worked out very fine. We're now recording on a Saturday morning, a lazy Saturday morning here in Florida. Hopefully a nice weather. Who knows over in Poland, but
Nice, gloomy, cold,
nice,
foggy. Yeah,
gloomy, and cold,
amazing.
like your attitude all the time. That's perfect. But seriously, tell us what's happening over at Portal Games now.
At Portal Games, I have a briefing from Luke Otwinowski, Director of Operations for Portal Games US. Robinson Crusoe Treasure Chest will be in stores November 23rd, so very, very close. It is very important to send this message clear because the expansion was released already in Poland, already in Europe, and because of the shipping to America, it took a few more weeks to have a street date in America. So for all our amazing fans in America, Robinson Crusoe Treasure Chest in stores November 23rd.
Nice.
Those of you who pre-ordered from our website directly, we already shipped to our direct customers. This is what companies in general do. Like if you pre-order from the publisher, they always try to care for you and ship things a little bit earlier. So many fans already are bragging on social media that they received it, and I'm very, very happy for that. Robinson Crusoe Treasure Chest is our big expansion for this game for this year. So
I've seen people
yep.
posting pictures. Paul and KO,
Yep.
friend of the show, friend of you and me. He was posting pictures of it. Looks cool.
Expansion is amazing. It adds so many new components, tokens, cards, all of them making the game harder because we had so many requests to make the game even harder. So many new ways to die on the island.
Of course, you have to make the most impossible game even harder.
But on a serious note, the new characters, new discover tokens, new events, new adventures, new beasts. This is like one of these expansions that just add new components to every type of the component, like new tokens, new cards, new pieces, like to increase replayability in every single part of the game. So I'm very proud of that. My brag of the week, very strange today, but for those of you who knows me, they know it means a lot. I took a week off, which is a quite achievement for Ignacy. I cannot believe it.
you have no. I don't think this is allowed. What I mean, why would you take it? No, okay. I mean, it makes sense. It's post Essen, and hey, was football?
It's post Vienna connection. It's post Vienna connection. I finished this stupid game. I hated, but I finished it, and I decided I deserve a 1 week. So for the past few days, I did nothing. It feels very bad for me. I cannot deal with such a amount of a free time and doing nothing. But yes, I'm ready for the new week with new tasks and new goals. But yes, my brag of the week, I managed to take a week off.
That is very cool. I'm very happy for you. You need to recharge the batteries, right?
This is important, absolutely.
All right.
So I read comics, I watch TV shows, that kind of jazz. Pre-orders, we have still Neuroshima Hex Year of the Moloch on pre-order the last week or last 2 weeks. You definitely need to check it out. Go to portalgamesus.com and check our offer. This ultimate, the limited edition of the game. to celebrate the anniversary. Big box, all these new components, art book, plastic pieces, absolutely mind-blowing offer. Check it out, portalgamesus.com. And I want also to spoil, to tease a Black Friday offer that is going to happen on Black Friday. All the planet is going crazy on this very Black Friday, so everybody will be having amazing offers. Of course, Portal Games as well, so check out portalgamesus.com to learn details. To be honest, I don't know details because of course our Portal Games US is preparing them, so I'm eager to see what they have in offer. Here in Poland, on our Polish vlogs and podcasts, I'm always yelling at fans at these moments because I hate when there's a special offer, because it means that my product is selling on a list price and I'm not happy. I'm publisher. I want all the money of the customers. And this is our ongoing joke that I'm always yelling at our fans: don't buy during the special offers, buy when there is no special offer. And but of course this is making jokes with our fans.
Of course.
No street dates, no upcoming street dates, because it's end of the year. We released everything we wanted to release this year, with Detective Season 1 being our most important release of the year, of course. So upcoming street dates, this section will be dead for a couple of upcoming weeks. New products in new year. And gossips and rumors from the HQ. I have exciting news about the Portal Games dealing with Chinese government.
Ooh.
I don't know if you saw the news, because it was a bigger news. For reasons I don't know, for some secret reasons, Chinese government hold and took into control few hundred of containers in the port. I guess it was some bigger operation. And of course, among these few hundreds of containers, there was this one single small container for Portal Games. And our games there was a Polish edition of Terror Zone of London in the container. Amazing deck building game. And there were some other products that were supposed to be shipped to Poland. As far as I know, we finally managed to get this container back to port. But it is ridiculous when these big events, big news. I don't know, it was some mafia thing. I don't know. Like, they just took few hundred containers looking for something.
Really?
And my container was there in this control. So insane.
That's very interesting, because most of the times it's not the exportation where you have a problem getting something out of a country. I mean, you might miss a ship, or there could be logistical issues at the port that they can't load fast enough. That's different. But governmental stuff almost always happens on the importation side. So yes, I'm very aware of containers being held by U.S. Customs and Border Control, because oh my, they've got to do a random inspection now of this container, and it costs you money. It costs the company money, even if they're doing it for no reason. All your paperwork is fine. Random inspection, and by the way, here's your $1,500 bill to add on, which is
I know these stories. Yeah.
Oh yes, you do. Oh yes, you do.
But this time the product didn't leave the China. It was held among other 300 containers. As I said, I don't know what they were looking for, but things happen. So you will not believe, if me and Steven start writing book with our stories from being a publisher. This is a interesting book to.
That's going to be one of them. There you go. Yeah. So over here at the Podfather of Gaming, I've been pushing, over the last couple of weeks to come out and check on my online version of my escape room. Why? Because at this time of year, many of us can't see family. It's too hard to travel, it's too scary to get together. The coronavirus cases are obviously through the roof in the United States. So it's just very hard. But you can get together from all over the world and all over the United States as well, of course, and play at escaperoomadventures.com with your family, with your friends. What a great idea to keep in touch with people and do a world-class escape room. I'd like to say it is, because our ratings show that it is. So go over to escaperoomadventures.com for about $20 a person. You'll be able to play in one of the 4 different escape rooms that we have put online. And if you want to reach out directly to me, I will ensure that you get special treatment, because I'll say to the manager there, hey, this is a friend of mine. you can do that. So you can reach out in one of the social media things to do that, and I'll make sure you get special treatment coming in. But just go over to escaperoomadventures.com, check it out. 4 different rooms that you can play with your family and friends over the holidays. Thanksgiving in the U.S. coming up in just probably a week after you people hear this, or about a week after people hear this, and Christmas after that. So check it out. For the videos of the week, still, of course, posting this podcast now in video format at the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. So check that out. Those who don't want to listen to on anymore, but want to see us do this and see us make fun of each other and Tom, come check us out in video format. Of course, I'm still doing the happy hour with the Podfather every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern and every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/podfathergaming, and you can get the link to join us. And we keep getting probably one new person who hears it on here every one of these sessions. So it's kind of nice getting a little bit of new blood. Another fan, another friend shows up, and then we just talk about what's on our minds, have a drink together if that's your thing. Also doing the Dice Towers board game breakfast with Z Garcia, Tom Vassell, and myself every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. And this, of course, is live as well. We do news, more centric to the board game releases that are announced. Here we do more industry stuff, board game news, game show between Z and myself, or Tom and myself, and the other person is the game master. And also we have contributor segments during the show. Check that out, either linked on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel, or you can go to the Dice Tower YouTube channel, where obviously it is posted there as well. My news of the week is quite interesting, Ignacy. I don't know whether you've seen my Facebook page over the last week, but the Podfather here had a colonoscopy this week. So much fun, as you know, those things. Ignacy, you're too young probably to have had one yet, right? How old are you? You're like 40.
I'm 40.
You're only 40.
And yes, I definitely believe that I'm too young yet. Hopefully.
They say that starting around 45 used to be at 50. But one of the, so I made a little joke on Facebook on my personal page, showed the great ingredients that I was going to have for my meals today, which consisted of the preparation for the colonoscopy, plus all these clear liquids that you have to drink, and only those things that you can eat and drink during the day. But what this started, and then I kind of said also, PSA, public service announcement, get this done. It can save your life. This then followed on that thread hundreds of comments of people saying, yeah, thank you for reminding me. I really have to. I don't want to. It's something that's kind of, something you don't just want to do. You got to in the bathroom a lot for the whole day. But, and then other people coming out and saying things like, I was fine too. And I just had a colonoscopy, and they found cancer, which, you don't want to hear that. But if you find it early enough, then you can do something about it. And that is the most important point. So my message, my public service announcement to everybody listening to me is, when you are of the age that this is important, be 45 or 50, go and get this done with your doctor's consent and all that kind of stuff. We want you as a fan very long time, and your family wants you to be around for a very long time. So get it done. Also this week, I don't know if you can see this, Ignacy, here on my arm here, it says
serious stuff,
right? I got my flu shot. It says flu fighter, because you don't want the double combination, right, of flu and COVID-19, especially this year. But actually, this thing here, it really wasn't the flu. The Band-Aid just says I'm a flu fighter. What it was is a shingles shot. You know what shingles are? Again, you're too young to even think about this. Well, it's a disease that old people get. When you're over 50, you can get a shot to prevent this thing that might happen to you. Normally it happens to people in their late 60s and 70s and 80s. Very painful thing that can happen to you, and bad things can happen from it. Like my doctor said, you can lose your vision. I've seen somebody lose it. I'm like, oh my God. That made me like, I don't want to lose vision. So again, if I can help anybody out there with my voice, when you're of the right age, just consider getting your shingle shot. And of course, in general, just stay abreast of your health. I think it's just an important thing. You have one body and we want to see you around. So stay abreast of your health, get out there, see your doctors when you need to, of course, and get the appropriate shots. So I hope that my voice is helping a few people out there. And that's all I'm going to say for the rest of this show. Now, Ignacy, we're going to go down.
I must say that first of all, Ignacy approves your message.
Thank you.
Then I think that when we both get older and older, maybe there will be a segment about the health. There will be board games and your health.
I like that. I think that's a great idea.
We are getting older. And yeah, that was important.
Yes.
Unexpected for all of our listeners who are looking for board games news. So now we have board games for you.
Board games and your health, both mental health and physical health. That's right. All right, Ignacy, to the event deck. So the first one here I found really, really interesting. And this is that FFG is reimagining Descent as Legends of the Dark. So it's Descent Legends of the Dark, a fully cooperative, app-driven dungeon crawler. Let me read a little bit about this. Fantasy Flight Games is taking the fantasy dungeon crawler board game Descent in a new direction with the launch of Descent Legends of the Dark releasing in Q2 2021. Descent Legends of the Dark is not a new addition or expansion for the earlier game, but it is a completely separate standalone offering. That's the important point that we're going to talk about. Unlike the original, which was envisioned as a competitive game that pitted heroes against the Overlord, so it was a one versus many game, the original, Legends of the Dark is a fully cooperative experience in which all players work together as heroes against the game itself. The monsters and villains are controlled by the integrated companion app, which takes over the role of the Overlord. The new game developed by Descent Journeys in the Dark veterans Kara Cendric Dunk and Nathan Hayjack will feature revised combat mechanics, a new fatigue system, and new features such as item carrying, shopping, skill development, all this kind of good stuff. But here's the most important point of this entire thing, besides the fact that, it's a big, big game that is coming out with this other game. The game is intended for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Scenarios will take 2 to 3 hours. The MSRP on this game, $174.95. It's a $175 MSRP game. Ignacy, I would like you to comment before I make my comments on this. You want to comment?
So
I can comment.
As you know, let me just do one more thing. It was hugely discussed on Polish forums, because as we many times discussed this, different countries are at different economy level. We are talking about now strategy, big level.
Sure.
And of course, Poland is as a post-communism country that is catching up with the Western economy for years. So for everybody who is listening, to give a picture, average salary in Poland, a month salary, is about $700. So if you are talking about the game that costs almost $200, this is insane. And of course, geeks are buying that, and of course, spending on Kickstarter, because either they are crazy, either they're of course having these better jobs, because of course this $700 is like average in the country.
Right.
And so for Polish customers, it will be extremely difficult. Of course, from the Western countries, we will see now, in my opinion, FFG checking the pain level for the customer, how much the customer is able to pay for the product. Like they were testing the waters. We will see. I remember precisely because I had a Skype call about this, so it was like the main topic of discussion when we had the first time the $100 game a few years back. And of course, FFG was the company who published the first time the game that costed $100, and we were all like, oh my God. And the customers bought it, the customers liked it. And for the miniature game, $100 is not a big deal. But now we are talking 175. This is another boundary, another border. We will see what will happen.
Yeah. So here's my take on this. When I read this article, I was blown away by the price, as you're saying as well. But the commentary that I like to give on this is that, number one, the industry is very healthy, because a company, a very major company, of course, can bring out such a product and sell. And let's face it, Asmodee, Fantasy Flight division, right? They are not selling a game and then trying to sell 1,000 copies of it. That's ludicrous, crazy. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're going to sell 5, 10, 30,000 copies of this game. They have to, or else it makes no sense for them to do this. So they believe they can do that. They're pushing the price point of everything up. So a lot of game. We're going to consider some negative feedback on my next comment here, but gamers, this is actually a good thing. Big air quotes on that for the industry. And what I'm trying to say is that our margins are very small, and trying to get a bigger piece of that pie and being able to blow out productions and get more, a higher price point is going to help the industry. Now, average gamer, especially like you mentioned in Poland, is going to have a problem purchasing this game. Sounds to me like this would be a great game that a gaming group purchases together, right? They pool their money if they really want it and they purchase the game. That might not be a good thing for everybody, but it's at least a way of doing it. But my point is, it's going to be something that is going to help, really kind of odd to think of it this way, other publishers, because they can bring out games at a higher price point if this thing works out. Second comment on this, since this is a brand new game, not really based directly on Descent, I will make a bet that Fantasy Flight will release this game, and if it succeeds in what they're doing, they will remove the SKU for the original Descent second edition. They will just get rid of it. If this one succeeds at 175, they don't need to have that one at, I believe it's either $99 or $90. Like either $90 or $100, in that range. Why would they need to have two very similar games with a similar name? Doesn't mention in the article, of course, and I couldn't find that they're going to do this, but that's my bet, my prediction. They will only have this one out if this works out.
Yeah, discussing prices, it is like a very sensitive topic because everybody wants lower prices for the customers, bigger prices for the publishers. We have different goals here, and we have so many different perspectives. Once again, I discussed this a couple of podcasts ago. Living in the country that has a poor economy compared to the country that has better economy, once again, different point of view. So it is very difficult. I think the most important thing we see here, FFG is doing one big step, trying to increase the price point and see how the market reacts. And as you said, because of the Asmodee is a big partner, they are not trying to sell 1,000 copies. They are confident that they can pull it off and sell a ton of copies because they feel that the market is ready, knowing how many players are spending hundreds of dollars on Kickstarter. I guess, yes, the market is ready, but we will see, of course.
We will see. So the next one is a very short one I'm going to mention. ICV2 hosted Insider Talks 2020, a live stream for industry professionals. So you had to register as a professional and you can listen in, and they had some speakers there. And they had a 2-day event. One was tabletop gaming and one was like comics. Yeah, that was it. That was the 2 days. Very big disappointment for me in the end. I mean, they gave lots of interesting information about sales and trends and things. Okay, that was good. We talk about it all the time. We already know it. So I don't know how much people got out of that, but it was okay. But then they had industry people, board games didn't even come up. And they had collectibles. They had like people who are in the CCGs giving the talk for the tabletop. And I'm like, sure, that's technically a bigger segment because Wizards of the Coast, dominates that. But to me, it was not worth really listening to that at all after a certain point. So I got the first part, didn't get the rest. I really thought that they needed to have people from other segments. Board games is a huge segment, and have them talk about the state of the industry. They could have asked me or you or somebody else to talk a little bit. So it was a disappointment in general. Sorry, ICV2, for saying that. Next thing, big gains in Hasbro's gaming line for the third quarter. Magic, D&D, and Monopoly, etc. Sales in Hasbro's total gaming category include both its Hasbro gaming brand portfolio and the games in its franchise brands portfolio, Magic the Gathering and Monopoly. Love the way they put those together. And they were up 21% to $543 million in the third quarter from $449 in a year before that, the company announced. Gaming category sales in the first three quarters of 2020 were up 11%, despite a big decline in Q2. Of course, too much COVID going on then. When everything got into lockdown, sales were way down then by about 19%, but now up 11%. We always talk about Hasbro because they are a huge gorilla, much bigger even than Asmodee. Of course, mass market mostly, but they have the hobby brands, right, of D&D and Wizards of the Coast and Avalon Hill games. As you can see, doing well, and where the big players do well, usually the smaller players follow. So I was very happy to hear these results from Hasbro.
Yeah, this is interesting. There is no details here because it's interesting that the Magic the Gathering, we talk about all the stores closed, we talk about all the tournaments shut down, we talked about FFG closing the whole scene for LCGs, and yet Hasbro reports that Magic brings more and more money. So the question that arises, but there's no details here, what part of this was in e-Magic? Because we mentioned the website Arena, where now the tournaments take place and players can buy cards in an e-version, etc. So it's interesting how much of the revenue was from virtual gaming, Magic the Gathering, because we are living in a virtual days this year.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing about this is that I did some research on what Hasbro's cash position is. And we talked about this a few years ago, and I went back and I looked at it again over the last 5 years. Hasbro has maintained a cash position, like literally in the bank account for Hasbro, they have $5 billion. That was their average over the last many years. In fact, now it's even higher than that. Astonishing number of money. And with $7 billion that they now currently have, they could easily buy every company in the industry. So they're that big, of a company. So it's just an interesting perspective to hear about. Huge publicly traded company. Ignacy's asking me to go on, but Ignacy, I'm sorry. I literally have to do this one more. Can we just do one more, please? Can we? Please?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'll just check. I will check the time, and I see. Oh my God, it's half past 4 already. So it's as always amazing to talk, and we could talk for 2 hours, and then check. Oh my God, it's 2 hours. So yes, of course. Let's do one more news, and then we will do one last question, and that's fine.
Sure. So this one is a very big one again for publishers, slightly less so for Kickstarter backers, but it's all about Kickstarter, this one. So CrowdOx has joined the Backer Kit team. So this was announced the other day. And this is very, very big news for publishers who use Kickstarter. We are thrilled to announce that today CrowdOx will be joining Backer Kit Company. We're excited to combine resources as one company to give creators and backers the best possible pledge management experience and the most powerful crowdfunding tools in the space. This will allow CrowdOx to provide even better service and features to our customer, and we expect even more awesomeness in the future. They go on and try to explain what it's going to mean and this and that, but it's very light on details as one might expect. So what is this going to mean for Kickstarter projects? So for the backers, very little. CrowdOx has its advantages over BackerKit, but BackerKit has some advantages too. What it's going to mean for the publisher side, CrowdOx has been always less expensive to use than BackerKit. They have competed on price, but in the end, CrowdOx has won every time. To my understanding, that's, when I was there, and we would always be using CrowdOx. So if you think about it, companies just merged. or probably BackerKit acquired CrowdOx, it's probably going to raise the price for the publishers, for the project creators on Kickstarter. Instead of it being a few cents for every backer that they charge, it could mean 25 cents or more once this thing all comes together. Long term, hopefully it's a good thing that they'll have more resources to create a better and bigger platform, something that is easier for the backers to use, something is easier for the publishers to use. But in general, it's going to mean a higher price that the companies will probably charge publishers. And I've actually reached out to some people, and they were publishers, that is, and they were unhappy with this announcement because they really liked the way CrowdOx worked and not as much BackerKit, so they were not happy about it. So, Ignacy, I don't know if Portal has used either one, because there are even other ones as well, but this is big news for publishers.
So this is I look at this as a huge news. No, not big news, a huge news, because on so many levels. And I guess we will get back to this news over the upcoming weeks and months when new things will develop and new items will be revealed. But the main take, what I have from this news, is that for the past few years, when we are reporting the industry, we were always reporting about what's happening at Gamma, what's happening at the distributors, what's happening at the publishers, and Kickstarter was always for us. And Kickstarter has so many projects. Kickstarter has so many millions of things, but we always was discussing and the Kickstarter. And also for the very many months, we report that Kickstarter is becoming more and more part of the industry, more and more important.
Yep.
And now we are starting to reporting changes in the business environment in the Kickstarter part of the industry. And these changes, as you just mentioned, they will touch many publishers. They will touch the industry, us publishers. And it's one of, I guess, many news in upcoming months when we will look more and more close in a business way to what's happening in the Kickstarter with the either new services, either BackerKit. We just reported GameFound discussing being a crowdfunding platform by its own. So I think that we see that Kickstarter is becoming a grown-up kit and bringing many interesting news to the whole industry, as a board games industry.
And just the last comment.
And just to finish, and Portal Games, we were using GameFound, so I was not using either of them, but for many years I was telling I like competition. I like
yes.
I don't like monopoly.
Yes.
So yeah.
I had something else I was going to bring up, and all of a sudden it went out of my head. Boom, done. Wow.
Yes, you are getting gold.
I'm getting.
Maybe this is because of the shot.
Okay.
But yes, of course, yeah. I'm not happy when I see two competing companies becoming one, because now they are not competing. Now they have one offer for every publisher, and there is not for me choice. If I want to CrowdOx or if I want to go the other one, now I have no choice. Still I have, because I have a GameFound. But merging, I was always skeptical of merging. And you remember what I was saying about Asmodee many years ago. I was afraid.
It's always a scary time when these little things happen. But I think in the end, it'll probably be okay. But it is big news in general for Kickstarter project creators.
Yep.
All right, let's get over to strategy and tactics. So Julian K, who's at Jujulatre, he asks, how will you be able to look among all these marvelous and also very numerous questions, sort them and pick up the one you will answer on the podcast? I mean, this looks like it's becoming an impossible task. Will you hire a grad student to do the job for you? Or maybe Stephen will whip Ignacy into doing it. I cannot imagine the opposite. Too cruel. Julian, we actually described how we pick the questions. I just basically these days I just go down in order, page by page by page. And yes, I do it all. So Ignacy, he's too busy of a man. I do it all. Right, Ignacy?
Yeah, but I have my job. You have your retirement, so you can do this one important thing for the podcast. Browse these hundreds of questions.
I've been doing this for years. Anyway, doesn't matter.
No, talk history.
B. Charlebo who's B. Charlebo on BGG. Is the cult of the new movement good for board game business? Most people buy more games when they come out, but I'm assuming it hurts sales of the old game. Yes, absolutely. It is bad. The cult of the new thing is not good. Everyone's looking at the new thing. You get interviewed at a convention. That's the funniest thing of all. You get interviewed at a convention as media people come around, podcasters and stuff, and they say, "Oh, what's this game about? What's this game about?" And they say like, "Well, what are you coming out with next?" I'm like, let's focus on the stuff we have right here. This is what we're selling. This is what we're trying to promote right now, and that's important. So yes, it is not good, but it is what it is. So we're not going to be changing that anytime soon.
Yeah, we discussed this many times. I'm as a publisher get used to that. I understand that. I have to accept this. I have to print runs prepared for the big spike at the very beginning, and then you never know what will happen. As a designer, I'm constantly furious that nobody cares for the game I designed 5 years ago because it is old and nobody cares. It's painful for designers, and I always say that these old games like El Grande, like Euphrates and Tigris, and all these amazing games from 90s and 2000s are still amazing, but we moved on and we look for the new one. I'm not happy, but this is what it is, and we need to work in this situation.
Yep, exactly. Russ Jackson, who's Blue Hiker on Board Game Geek, I have recently come to the realization that I only like to play digital ports of board games as a two-player, asynchronous, mobile iOS experience. If more than two people are involved or it's synchronous, I'd rather just play in person with the cardboard. Yeah, I think most of us would rather. The questions are, Terraforming Mars is on Steam. Will there be a mobile port? Well, this is an old question. The answer is, of course, yes. It's both on iOS and Android. Will we see a mobile port of Imperial Settlers?
One day.
One day. Here, look at that. You got news here. It's going to happen one day. And number three, do you consider mobile ports of board games a key strategy of success or just gravy? I think it's basically gravy. I mean, certainly it's a good thing to have happen, but it's not key to success. Not every game will hit a mobile port.
For us, for Portal Games Digital, we do ports, but it's absolutely not our main goal for the company, not our main strategy. If we have a great tabletop game, we try to port it to e-devices, but it is too early to think in a way that this e-port will be more important than tabletop version of the game.
Very good. Maze Zedekar, who's at Crackerjack with lots of K's in it, mostly for Ignacy Portal. Portal Games publishes games that are very similar, but not exactly the same. For example, 51st State, Imperial Settlers, and Alien Artifacts. Is that true? Are they similar? I don't think so. My instinct tells me that these games would cannibalize each other's sales. What is the business strategy behind the decision to publish games that are so similar? And how do they actually affect each other's sales and marketing and profitability? Ignacy.
I just want to mention that this is not Ignacy who invented this amazing strategy. I want to give some examples like Pandemic Legacy, Pandemic The Cure, Pandemic Cthulhu, Pandemic whatever, Pandemic Season 1, etc., etc. And yes, if you have a good title, you want to reach new audience, and if this audience haven't checked this very game, maybe there are some reasons. So you are looking for something similar to reach this new audience. That's why we had Pandemic, then there was Pandemic Cthulhu to find these all the fans who love Cthulhu, and then you were Pandemic Rome to look for the people who like history. And for us, it is the same. We had the 51st State, the game that has amazing reviews, but the theme, post-apocalyptic, was very narrow. Not many people are interested in a post-apocalyptic theme. So we thought, let's do a much appealing theme of settlers, little cute meeples, and use quite similar rules, and release the game. And the game was built on foundation on already a game on the market, already a game that has a very good reviews, and we were able to say this Imperial Settlers is based on award-winning 51st State, and the customer is more likely to check the new game, and we reach the new audiences. And then we released Empires of the North based on this award-winning Imperial Settlers in the same world, but the new factions, the new mechanism, new ideas, and once again we reach new audience. So basically we are having some success with the one game, and you're building on top of that, creating new things and new things.
Sure.
And Steven was teasing for the past few years new Terraforming Mars games, and we expect them, and we are waiting for them. All these, I have no knowledge, but so I'm just talking as a fan. Terraforming Mars Legacy, Terraforming Mars Dice Game, Terraforming Mars Roll and Wide, etc., etc. And we hope they will be released at some point because Stronghold Games will build on the success.
So
What's your comment?
if anybody who's watching this would see me
Yeah.
nodding with my hands over my mouth, nodding yes, shaking my head no, no comment. Cannot comment on these unannounced products, Ignacy. You know that.
Yeah, but we are talking about the strategy. You have a title
Yes.
and you want to find a new audience. You are looking for the new ways to attract customers, and you already have the good IP or the good rules, good engine, and you are building up.
100% companies must capitalize on their IPs, must capitalize on their IPs, must bring out expansions for very big selling games, must bring out other games in the line, must bring out accessories, things like that. So you have to do things like that. So sure, you could expect, we've already had Terraforming Mars big box accessory. You can expect that at some point there will be other games in the line. But I did not say when, I didn't say what, I didn't say anything, and I don't work there. So that's all you're going to get from me. All right.
So you can tell us and you will be not fired. How cool is that?
I might be sued for putting out.
Okay, good point. Do we have a budget? I told you we need to have some insurance, and then we can go all in with our announcements.
What do you think? You get some lawyers to help us out. All right. Stop being so silly. Let's get over to our play testing segment. All right, Ignacy, talk to me.
I have an extremely silly question, but there is a ton of thought behind this question. So let me ask this question, and then let me explain what I mean by this question. My question is very simple. How old are you, and where are you from? And why I want to ask this question?
What kind of question is this?
Yes, what kind of question is this? So let me tell you the story. When I was for the first time in America for the conventions, I discovered that the average age of the gamers at the American convention is clearly much higher than average age on the Polish conventions. Like seriously, like in Poland, on Polish conventions, in Polish industry, I'm the old one. While when I visited America, I'm this young dude from Poland. This is like really like 20 years difference. And my question is because I'm trying to understand if this has anything to do when the industry started in the particular country, when the big massive hit became popular in this particular country, and the geeks, start to becoming geeks. If does it mean that you in America were playing board games and role-playing games in 70s and 80s, and in Europe maybe later in 90s. So it is very interesting to me to ask our listeners, hey guys, how old are you and what country are you, and if you will see any patterns. So this question might look stupid, but I'm looking for the patterns. What do you see?
So, as you can see, I phrased that much better. We want to know you, our audience, better. And we want to see the differences in gamers between the different countries. I'm typing this and changing it up between the different countries. So, how old are you and where do you come from? Obviously, I am 59 years old. I was born in New York City and raised there, and moved to New Jersey, half my life in each one of those places, basically. And now I live in Florida, United States. Ignacy, tell us about you, and then we'll pose this to everybody else out there.
Ignacy is 44 years old. And as I mentioned, because this is like mind-blowing. In Polish industry, in Polish forums and fandom, I'm the old one. I'm the old who and so this is like so confusing for me when then I go to the America and hey, young dude from Poland suddenly. So yes, I'm 44, I'm from Poland, and in Poland, the whole industry started a few years ago. No, now, of course, it's a decade now. It's not a few years ago, this is decade, but still, it's quite a young industry, and I see a ton of young faces, like 20 years old guys, 22 years old guys. And then I go to America and I see people who played board games when I was in children garden or whatever. Yes.
Yes.
So very interesting to me. And now, of course, the question: the gigs in Germany, if there's any difference, gigs
Yep.
in France, in different countries. So that's why I asked how old and which country, if there is any pattern.
Yep.
So let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we discovered something.
Yeah. No, and I'm going to add something to that. So, and you know, maybe this will help you in your mind that in the United States, while it was still subculture, it wasn't, you know, like in Germany, they've been gaming forever. It seems like, right? It was a family thing. It was like a subculture of geeks that did like those old Avalon Hill war games, and now they call themselves grognards, and they met in special places and things like that, and even at Gen Con and stuff in Origins, but they met at the World Board Gaming Championships and these other war gaming conventions and stuff. So yeah, definitely a different set of people grew up in a different way. So this is a very interesting, odd, but very interesting question. So right now, Ignacy is creating a thread. Is he on it? He's on it right now, creating a thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. Find that playtesting thread for episode 171 and post your answer to our question. And now we're going over to the final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from the playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, which is /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgames.pl, portalgamesus.com, and podfathergaming.com. Please go there, sign up for our newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven on Twitter @PortalGamesUS and @Podfather Gaming. Same on Instagram, and on YouTube, the channel names are Portal Games Movies and the Podfather of Gaming. We certainly hope to see you in 2021 at a convention. In the meantime, keep listening here. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast, which is an amazing podcast, by the way, if anybody wants to listen to his as well. Very funny guys, very insightful stuff. And you can contact him to edit your podcast on Twitter or on his email account, which is thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Ignacy, it's done for the week. Anything special, anything interesting to report to our fans here that they would not have known otherwise?
I do have something that I have not spoiled anywhere yet, no social media, nowhere, because I'm working on it right now and it is not yet ready, but it's coming. And I'm working on a new YouTube show because there is not enough YouTube shows about board games. I thought YouTube needs one more YouTube show.
Of course.
So I'll be doing that. And of course, this is something that I was doing first on a Twitch, some meeting with the fans, live streams, and I came with this idea to create a regular show on YouTube. So I hope to report officially in 2 or 3 weeks what it will be. But if you like my Slavic accent and my stupid jokes, I will be live streaming on YouTube in December or maybe in January. We will see, but this is for the first time spoiled. I'm working on a YouTube show.
Very good. I love something special to tell our fans out there. Thanks for that. So everybody, take care, and we'll see you in 1 week. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.